I'll be moving quickly to what we do at ID Analytics. At ID Analytics, we empower individuals with data analysis skills, either individuals or corporate organizations. If you are a beginner or a professional looking to upskill, ID Analytics is the right place to seek the needed help that you need in enhancing what you have or what you need. So you can reach out to us for whatever your data analysis needs are. We have packages for both individuals and organizations alike. All right, I'll be moving on to who our speaker is for tonight's webinar, which is on structuring your data. So Mr. Oloruntoba Fasakin is a Microsoft certified trainer. He has over 5 years of business intelligence with Power BI experience. He's also, like I mentioned before, he's a Microsoft certified trainer. He has trained over 3,000 participants, including senior management on Power Platform, which are Power Apps and then Power Automate, on big data, Microsoft Office tools, and advanced presentation skills for business. He has built robust analytic system solutions for clients across various industries, ranging from civil service, telecommunication, and financial institutions, etc. He started as a consultant, but now he is in the financial sector. Mr. Oloruntoba Fasakin will be running us through in the next 45 to 50 minutes on how we can structure our data right before analysis. So, Mr. Oloruntoba Fasakin, you have the floor now.
Can anybody hear me? Good evening. Good evening. Mercy, can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure being here to be a part of this learning together. Apologies, my voice is a bit low. I just finished the meeting, so I had to just quickly jump in my analytics would not reach out to me and I would not oblige, so I have to be here. But of course, as we go on, I will pick up and then my voice will be sounding as it should be. So Messi, just to confirm the structure of the class will be for 45 minutes, and would there be questions after, or questions can happen in between? How do
to make the most of our time, we'll take questions after your session. So we want you to use between 40 to 45 minutes. So we have time for participants to ask their question, and then we can share our social media handles with everyone for resources to follow and all of that.
Okay, super. Thanks for the clarification and thank you for having me. Okay, so let me see if I can share my screen. And then, so during the course of the week, I stumbled on one of our previous learnings, and I said I was on Power Query too. So it was on something related to this that we want to do today. So yes, it makes my job a bit easier, or should I say easy. Please confirm you can see my screen. Can someone confirm my screen can be seen?
Your screen is up.
Okay. So thank you for the feedback. So like I said, Muslim made my job easy. I stumbled on the class. I think that was the last class, I believe. So I was a Power Query, and so I will not be starting from the very basics of Power Query, because majorly this class will be around Power Query, but not just Power Query. We're going to look at some other things. So I was just saying that to learn, to wear the ground, I would say. So structuring your data for analysis. This is a very, very key concept when it comes to data analysis. You don't just jump into analysis because, oh, my data has been stored for me, I have my data, let me just start analysis. No, you have to ensure your data is well structured, and there are checks to do to that. So these are many more things we'll cover in this webinar this evening. And yeah, so I will be mindful of my time to sure that to be sure I'm not going beyond the time I've been allotted. So my name is Oloruntoba Fasakin again. Okay, this is me. My picture. Ignore this picture. This is one old picture of me. I'm now I'm now an old man or something around that. So let's jump quickly into. So I don't want to go over data was analysis or structuring. I don't want to go over that. I want to believe to some extent we are not just newbie in this field. So but if probably I missed something you do not understand, you can always call my attention. There's a Q&A, so you can go over that, and yeah, we can have those. So I'm starting from the angle of business, because analysis is not just done for personal use. So when you hear data analysis, take your mind off. I'm just gathering data on my Power BI. I'm doing analysis on my Power BI. No, analysis is just for business purpose. And when I say business purpose, it means it is so relevant to businesses. Businesses churn out data every day. They generate data every day. They need intelligence of this data. They need this data to make meaning to them, to make sense to them. That is why data analysis is relevant today. That's why people are earning a lot in data analysis today. Now, so I'm going to relate everything we're doing to business. So I'm going to start from business. How do they generate data from, how do businesses generate data, and how do they move from generating data into analyzing data? So that's why I termed this this particular slide data life cycle in business. So when it comes to life cycle in business, like I said, businesses generate data. So businesses the data could be coming from OLTP platforms like so OLTP means online transactional the process of our name is online transactional program of processes. That's remember now. So OLTP are simply online data. So where you online systems where you can enter data, you can maybe you're buying stuff, you're entering data, I'm a customer, I came to buy stuff, you are generating data, putting in my details. So I come to the ATM I'm using, so I'm using the ATM, I'm going to the POS, I'm using POS. So those are online transactional. For some reason I'm forgetting the P, but it's fine. So that's one way of generating data. Businesses generate data via the ERP systems. That's enterprise resource planning systems. Business generates data through the use of CRMs too. That's customer relationship management. And these are all operational systems. So this means that these are systems that businesses use to generate data. Okay, so this is where businesses generate data from. There are some other ones like your core banking system, like your core systems, your core banking systems, your Finacle, your FlexCube, your core systems. Majorly, most businesses have. If it's not for, that's why I add PTC here, because there are many other ones. Okay, so data comes from these systems. Okay, data comes from this system. Each business generates data from these systems. Now, when this data is being generated, it's not just left in isolation. They use this data for certain things. Okay, so from these generating systems, the data goes into that's where OLAP, data warehouse, databases, and BI systems come into play. So these are places where analysis is done. So and we are generating data as a business. We need to act on this data. And how do you act on this data? That is where data now flows from the generating systems, from the OLTP, ERP, CRMs, SAPs, and the likes. In most of them, to where analysis can be done. Your data warehouse is to warehouse the data. Database is to store the data. OLAP is to online analysis. For some reason, I'm forgetting the P again. So online analysis platform. Let me just use platform for the sake of in my head now. So so let's say OLAP. So you are doing your analysis. BI systems, you are doing analysis. So data streams from these core systems or these operational systems to this analytics system, so that businesses can now do reporting. Okay, So this is more like the life cycle. And then from your analysis, now it now goes to the stakeholders, the management team, whoever clients or whoever needs to consume the report, where they can now make informed decisions. So that is more like the, I mean, in an overview, in summary, that is the life cycle of data. So it doesn't just end, or you don't just, data doesn't just come from thin air. It starts from somewhere. Start with you going on the app, registering on that app. It starts from you going to your POS and using your ATM on the machine. You going to a website, entering your details. I mean, data is generated for businesses diverse of ways. Buying stuff. I mean, you are everything you do, every action you do as to the business, every transaction that happens, that is data to them. And this data is being generated every day. So they need systems to actually be able to make sense of this data. That's where this second part, which is the analytics systems, come into play. Okay, so they come into play, and data flows seamlessly. Data should flow seamlessly. Maybe this is the place where I talk about how seamless data is harnessed from the operational system to the analytics system, because there are a number of processes that happen here. Maybe I'll talk about the roles, people that are involved in these processes. So there's first the database administrator. I think I wanted to have that in my slide, but for some reason I could not because of time. But I will just explain using my mouth. So businesses, there's someone called a database administrator. There's someone called a data engineer. There's someone called data analyst. I think let me limit it to these three. I mean, there are lots, of course, with the new advent of AI, fabrics, and all that. There are more roles coming up, but I will just limit it to these three for the sake of this class. So now, the database administrator is someone that works majorly on at these parts. Let me see if I can. Yeah, so his work majorly is here. Okay, so he's the one that, you're creating pipeline of data, you're running data architecture, how data is to be collected from the operational systems to something that analysts can use, or something that can be connected. So harnessing data, everything around data, that's what the database administrator is majorly focused on. So it works majorly here, and it's on the back end of things. So collecting data from the back end, ensuring that the data is being written, everything that needs to be collected from transactions has been collected. Okay, so data engineer, database administrator is majorly here. Now there's now a data engineer. Data engineer is more like a link, a channel between these two. So that's where data engineer is a channel between this and this person. So it's more like the person here in the middle. So a data engineer is more like, of course, a database administrator is ensuring that data is being collected, is running through the pipeline. Now, a data engineer works with the data analyst as well as it works with the database administrator, in the sense that it's not that now collect the data that the database administrator is passing. He collects it, he writes it to the database or the data warehouse of the data team, so that they can equally, or the data analyst, data scientist, the data whoever can connect to it, data analytics engineer, whoever can connect to it, and they do analysis. Okay, so that's who a data engineer is, ensuring that the database is being updated and optimizing the database so that scripting and all that, ensuring that data is being is made available to the data analyst. And of course, you need a data analyst. So once the data engineer has provided data, the pipeline is running well, everything is fine, you go to your database, you query data out of the database, and you do analysis. Okay, so that's the life cycle of data, and that is the way data runs from me and you, using each system, using different things, performing transactions to eventual analysis. So I've taken my time to explain this so that for those who probably do not have a bit of clarity on these parts, you can have that. So that's where data analyst is. Now, there's always, there are certain times when there are issues with the way data is coming. Ideally, data should always come structured, but there are times when it does not. You are pulling data from CRM, from CRMs, you are pulling data from ERP systems, SAP system. It may not come the way it's supposed to come. So that is why you need to know if this data that I'm pulling, I'm extracting, is this data clean or needs to be, or is dirty? So is it clean or is dirty? If it's dirty, then it needs to be cleaned. If it's not dirty, then you can go ahead and do your analysis. So in an ideal system, when there's a working data engineer, working data business administrator, data should not be ideally dirty. But Nigeria being where it is, and businesses, because on paper, businesses tend to be structured, but most times when back and forth, you see that most times things are not the way it is. I mean, that's on the other side though. So yeah, so when this data sets, or when the data is not coming in the right way, there's a need to clean. Now, question will not be, what is the check I need to do to ensure that my data is coming in the right structure, or to know if this data is dirty or clean? So there's something people call so I call it checks for right data structure before analysis. So some people call it 7 golden rules, some people call it 5 golden rules, 5 golden rules. I mean, whatever number you want to deflate. Let me see. I mean, they have 5 or so. But I mean, I will go over this one after the other. So the first rule is to say that there should be no empty rows in or columns in your data. If you have a data that you want to use for analysis, first thing you need to check for is, are there empty rows? Are there empty columns in your data? If there's empty row or empty column, know that that data is not clean. If there are empty rows or columns in your data, column or columns, row or rows in your data, know that the data is not clean. Okay, know that it is not clean. And remember, I'm not saying cells. Cell is not a check to say, oh, there's empty cell here, so data is no. Empty rows or empty columns in your data, that is what is a sign that this data needs to be cleaned. It's a dirty data. The next check to do is no total or subtotal in your data. I mean, these are common things. So I'm just going over this so that for those who do not have this understanding, but if you have to, beautiful. So no total or subtotal in your data. That means in your data in its own self should not have total, should not have subtotal. Data in its own self should not have total or subtotal, because when you eventually go into reporting, your reporting would still do the summation for you, still get the total for you. So if you had gotten total, if you had allowed data being your data, and if you allow total being your data, when you go into reporting, you'll be having double numbers, because reporting will still go and do the summation for you again. So it's going to add everything again, and then you're having double numbers. So total or subtotal should always be exempted. I've heard of a scenario where the analyst, and I mean, this is by the side, the analyst, got data from the finance team. No, of course, it's not finance. They would always do calculation, do everything they need to do. So the analyst got data, but they did not remove the total and subtotal that the accountants did in their books. So he got the data, plugged to Power BI, did analysis, and reported numbers. And business saw the number, oh, we've exceeded targets, we've done so well this year. So at that very reason, they went splunging money, they went lavishing money. I mean, bonus was everywhere, until the accounts departments, had to come in and say, what's happening? These numbers seem to be different from what the analyst is reporting. What could be happening? So they had to be tracing it. Could it be from the accounting team? Could it be from is it that the accounting team are doing something wrong? Is it that the analysts are doing something else? So they went searching, obviously, to reconcile numbers. Eventually, they noticed that was from the analyst. So the analyst did not remove total or subtotal. And yeah, of course, someone has to pay for it. So the analyst have to pay for it. He lost his job, and so these are common issues. So when there's a total or subtotal in your data, remove it. Your reports, you can have total or subtotal, but your data itself, do not. Next one is all dates must be in a single column. So your dates should not be in rows. When you have dates in rows, let me see if I can come up with Excel. Okay, I need to open Excel. So dates should not be in rows. It should always be in columns. So your dates should always be in columns and not rows. We all understand what columns is and rows. So dates should always be in a single column. All dates. So except maybe you have your purchase date, you have your sales date. So those are two different dates. Those can be in two columns. But if you have data, then you are entering them in rows. No, it has to be in the column. It has to be in a column. So that's the third check. The fourth check is all unique data must have its own column. What does that mean? Every unique data must have its own column. If column A is standing for name, don't add departments in column A again. I should not be seeing Toba, Messi, Musin, Angel, whatever name. Then I'm now seeing admin, I'm seeing account in the same column. If you are seeing such, know that that is not a unique data and it has to be cleaned. So unique data must, every data must have, every unique data must have its own column. So you need to separate those data so that they can have their column. If the column is for state, let it be state across. Nothing should interfere with the uniqueness of the column. So when you see that a column is not unique data, that means it has to be cleaned. The next one is no obstruction around your data. That means that don't play around, even if you notice that someone played around data, something not related to data is an obstruction. So if it is anything not related to data is around your data, always take it out so that it doesn't affect your reporting on the long run. So I mean, there are a few cases when this happens anyway, but yes, yeah, also a check that should be put into mind. And the last one is the single of heading. I think when I did 6. So single of heading is simply saying that there should be no column header with no there should be no column header. There should be no column header. There should be no column with no header, and there should be no column with more than a header. So there should be no column with no column header, and there should be no column with multiple column headers. So those that's what single of heading. So your column heading should always be one. One. It should be single. That means it must not be blank, and you must always have a column. You must always have one. She must not be more than one, and it must not be less than one. Simple that way. So it must not be less than one, it must not be more than one. That's single of heading. So this is also another check that is so important. So because column headers are identifiers. Okay. So I think this is where my slide stopped. So I mean, I know a lot of us would want to say, oh, go enough of the talk, let's do. I used to be a doer person, let's do, but I got to realize that it is always very important to know why before you do. It's not just about doing, it's about knowing the why behind it. So I have the number of data sets that we'll look at, and then of course, we'll do our check to know if this data is structured or not. And then how can we clean this data to ensure that if it is not structured, we can structure it for analysis. If it is structured, then we can go ahead and report with the data set. So let me open different data sets. So these are just small data sets so that we can do something quickly. Hope I'm still on time. Okay. Let me open the last one. So this data set was one I got from an online platform. Okay, yeah, so I think we are good. Yeah, so if you look at this data now, based on what we've said, if you want to run a check on this data, is this data clean or dirty? I think people can unmute, right? Yeah, I think so. So is this data clean or dirty? Let me go back to my, if you want to drop it in the chat too, you can. If you want to drop a message, you can. So if it's dirty, why? If it's clean, why? It's clean, why? If it is dirty, why? If it is clean, why? If it is dirty, why? Let me check the charts. Where's the charts? Where's the charts? For some reason, is it that I can't see the charts? So I don't think I can see the chart anymore. So you can always use the answer. You can unmute your mic. Okay, this is the chat here. I've seen the chat. Okay. Okay. Nobody's responding. Oh. Nobody's responding. What's happening? You are leaving it to do your thing yourself. Do your thing yourself. Okay. Someone trying to respond. So should be out the cats.
Please show the screen again.
Okay, I'm sharing again. I'm sharing again. Can you see? Can you see? Hello? Is this data clean or dirty? Okay, let me go to another one. Is this data clean or dirty?
It's dirty.
So I like what we are doing. So because this one looks a lot, so we have to say it is dirty. Why is it dirty? Why is it dirty? Why is it dirty?
Because it has
I think because it is unstructured.
How is it unstructured? I like the responses I'm giving. It's making me want to ask more questions. So how is this unstructured?
It has empty columns.
Empty column. Where's the empty column? Let me see. I don't think it has empty column. I don't think it has empty column. Or am I missing something? No, it doesn't. So this is not empty. This is not empty. This is not empty. This is not empty. So no empty column. No empty column. So someone said it's unstructured. Oftentimes, when people say unstructured data, that means data that is not in a table wise, it's not having column or rows. So that's what people refer to as unstructured data. Okay, so that's what people refer to as unstructured data. So this is not unstructured, this is structured. Okay, so this is structured data, but so give me a second. Someone is at the door. Apologies, I need to be just. Okay, so apologies again. Yeah, so unstructured data mostly means referred to as data not in a table. So data not having columns, not having columns or rows. So that means it's not having structure, but this is having column, is having rows. So it is not structured, it is structured, but a dirty structured data. And why is it dirty? If you go back to our rows, we said no empty rows, no empty column, no total or subtotal. All data must be in a single column. All unique data must have its own column. So if you look at this now, this column A, is it unique? Column A, is it unique? Is column A unique? Feedback. Okay, obviously it is not unique. Let me, so that we don't waste our time because of time, I need to rush a bit. It is not unique. So we have the sheet mode, we have the segments, we have the other dates. And we have column B is not unique. So we have the first class, we have the consumer, we have the corporate, yeah, it's not still unique because this one does not have a column header. So it has broken that rule of single row of heading. So it has broken a number of rows. So we need to clean this data. So as other ones too. So this one also is not clean. It's not clean because we're having categories here. We're having binders, arts, phones, fasteners, paper on the same column. This is not category. Office supplies, furniture. So it's similar. Well, it can be a category, but it is this I would say that we have them morphed together, so lumped together. So each data should have its own. So this should run across columns. This amount to should run across. So we need to clean this. So now let's see how we can clean this. So for us to clean this, like I said, we have done a previous video on Power Query before. So be skipping some things intentionally. So if you probably want to go over them again, go over Power Query for the very basics again, you can go back, refer back to the previous videos or video on Power Query. So because of time again, and Power Query is a cleaning tool. So once your data is dirty in Excel, you use Power Query to clean it up. So we are using Power Query to clean this data up, and let's see how far we can go. And so if I come under data now, under the data tab is where we can use Power Query. If you don't want to come under data, if you right click on this data, use something called where's it? Get data from table or range. So if you click on this get data from table or range, it will take you eventually to Power Query. Or you can come under data tab, get data, and then from other sources you can say from table or range. So like I said, this data is in a table, or it's in a range, not in a table basically, but it has a table structure. So table or range. Once I do this, it's going to ask me that it's going to ask me to if my data is, should have column headers or something. Okay, so I'll say my table has headers. Yeah, my table has headers, and this will now take me fully into Power Query. Power Query is simply an ETL tool. That means a tool that you can use to extract data, to transform data, and to load data. So this I'm going from table or ranges because I already opened my file. This is something that we should know, but it is good I talk about it. So we have our data here, the unclean data, the way it is. So we have it here. We have it here. And if I come inside of this data, you can see the segments, the other dates. So let me show us something. So for this unclean data, let me see, would it allow me to do anything? It would not allow. Let me come back here. So we need to clean this data. That means that we have different things. We have ship mode. If you look at the first row here, this ship mode, first class, column 1, same day, second class. So the column headers look to be, it's supposed to be a column on its own. That's ship mode column. The segments, if you look at the segment row 1, segments, consumer, corporate, home office, consumer. So it looks like it was supposed to be a column on its own. So column on their own, because they were repeated across. So it's supposed to be a column on its own, but they were entered in rows. So what I'm saying is this. So this is supposed to be a column on its own. So across, but for some reason they entered them in rows. Other dates too supposed to be a column on its own, which is already a column on its own. So we need to maybe clean it up even more so that segment and ship mode is not existing yet. And I said ship mode is supposed to be a column on it. So if you look at it, it's speaking to ship mode, first class, same day, and blah, blah, blah. So how do we go about cleaning this data? And remember that any cleaning we do Power Query, it is automated. That means once there's a new data, it will replicate the cleaning process you've done. So if I come under ship mode now, I come under the first column because I want to clean, this other date is just a single column that is entered the right way. And then this other one, segment is entered the wrong way, ship mode is entered the wrong way. So I need to deal with these two first so that I can, it's better to have one entered the wrong way and then two is standing well than having two. And also I missed that on this amount. So if you look at it, the amount is scattered across. So we need to align these two first, and then I can do this other date and the amount. So how do I align it? I can turn this table around. Okay. So cleaning is about thinking about it, it's about logic. If I turn this table around, that means transposing. For those who know transposing, if I transpose this table, segments can be on its own column. Instead of it being in rows, it will come to column. And this ship mode that is in columns that is in rows would come to column too. So let's look at it together. If I click on transform here, I will see transpose. If I click on transpose, so my table has been turned around. It has been turned around. Did I miss something out? So before I transpose, let me see. Before I transpose, I need to demote headers. So I want this ship mode to come down so that because I want to deal with it, so I need to demote this header. So I'll use headers as first rows, insert the step. So once I transpose the table, yep. So once I transpose the table, this would work. So I can come here and then I would have loved to fill down, but let me see. Okay, so this is still fine. I will deal with this. What others? Okay, it's fine. I'll deal with it as we go on. So fill down. So let me not fill down this again. So under column, so we have our segments, we have our ship mode, we have the order dates now, and then we have the amount. So now what I can do is I cannot make the ship mode the column header, segments column headers too. So I will just come back here and then say use first class headers. That means bring back our column headers. So we have this, and then it's looking fine. Now, once we have these two cleaned, so we need to deal with this order date and then the amount that is in this column. So one thing how we can deal with the amounts is we can do something called on pivots. On pivots simply means that turn selected columns into rows and then turn the rows into columns. I mean, create two columns. If I click on these two now, that means if I say on pivots order columns, that means turn the remaining data that we are now highlighted into two columns. So the column headers will form the column headers here now will form a column, and then the things in this column header, in these columns would also be in a column. So what do I mean? If I right click now and then I say on pivot order columns, so you can see that the dates, if I go to this last step now, the dates, these other dates that will run across like this. So there were lots, would now be in a column. So you can see them now, they are now in a column, and then this value now have its own column too. So they have their own column too. So this is how it's supposed to be. Now, instead of me leaving it this way, I can think, because I'm looking at this date, this is not, if I change the, what's it called, the data type of this would not give me the right thing because this date is not looking clean. So I can still split this column, split by delimiter. Delimiter means a special character that is separating your data. So split by the delimiter, and then I will say by the underscore, and then I can choose anyone because I know you appeared one, so I can choose from left one, right one, each occurrence, but I will do each occurrence so that even if it is more than one, I can equally see it. Okay, so I've done this, and yeah, this looks okay now. So I can remove this column; it's not needed. Just the dirty data, I can remove it. I can change this now, rename it to dates, change this to amounts, change the segments. This is fine. Let me see something. Let me see something before I even on pivot. Say I should have done something. Let me see. Okay, it's fine. So I can dates here, and then I can change this data type to amounts, maybe currency. That works just fine. So this way now I've been able to clean this data, transform this data the right way. What I can also do is this. So before I do the pivots, I can, so instead of having this, so I have this column 1, column 2, column 3, 4, I can, because I can replace the values. Let me insert the step, replace the value with empty, replace these two with empty, so that, because it's supposed to be something I will fill down. So let me just replace this empty. In my off my head now, I'm not so let me make this empty too. Let me replace this as empty values. Yeah. So place these two as empty. A few times. Okay. Okay, so once I've done this, I can now fill this down. Fill down. Yeah, fill down. What's happening? What's happening? Let me fill down again. Okay, so let me just come here. Okay, okay. So yes, so this is our clean data, and if I go under home now and then I close and load, we have our data sets cleaned. Okay, this. We have just so this is one. The other one I was trying to show us before now, which is this. This is also another that's not cleaned. So we have the other ID category amounts to also clean up. So for us to do that, if I quickly just do insert, so insert, if I come under data, or let me do it the other way I wanted to show before. So if I come under here and then I say get data from table or range, okay. So this is another data set we want to clean. So I mean, it's coming out, it's not coming out the right structure. We want to ensure that it's coming in the right structure we want for analysis. So that means those checks I did earlier, everything is matching. So I can, for this one here, we have the other ID, we have the category, we have the amount here. So we need to make everything split, proper splits of this data. So for us to do that, I will duplicate this column. Because of time, so I'll just go over it quickly so that I'm not going over time. So once I duplicate this table, I will probably just take amounts of this, remove it first, then I come to this particular place, I remove the category. So someone would ask me, why am I doing this? Let me see if I can just quickly show you why. So if I remove this, so I come to this table 3, this is one that I've not removed. So if I come here, then I want to split by column. I want to split by delimiter again, because delimiter is what is separating them. If I say like this, and I say each occurrence of the delimiter, under advanced options, I say split it into rows, and I do okay. So I can only split this the right way. These other ones would remain. So that's why we need to split them into 2 different tables so that I can deal with them equally, and then I can now match them eventually. So the same way what I've done for the previous table, I would do split column, delimiter, and then I would say, yeah, this is the special character. Then I'll say each occurrence of the delimiter. That means every time you see this character, split my data. Don't do leftmost. Leftmost means start from the left and then do it once. Rightmost means go to the right. The ones that is on the last from the first from the right. That's the rightmost. But I need each occurrence. That means every time you see this delimiter split, and I want to do by the rows. I don't want to split by the columns. I want it by the rows. So I'll split into rows. So I'll do okay. So I'm done with this. Come on that table, right click on this again, and then I say split into by delimiter, and then I say custom, then I put in that, then I say also into rows. So I do okay. So I do okay now. So we have our data now split into the right way. So now I need to bring these two together. For me to bring it together, if you remember our VLOOKUP you can use our maybe other ID, unique identifier to extract data, to pull data from a particular place. So I'm going to use this other ID to pull this amount into this other table, into this table 1. So how do I do that? If I come under merge queries is a feature in Excel that is used to merge data by the column. Append query is used to merge data by the rows, or concatenate data by the rows. Merge is used to concatenate data by the columns. So I'll do merge queries. I probably can do as new, but I'll do merge queries so that it's just maintain the same thing. So I'll do other ID, and then I'll click on table 2. So table 2, then I'll say on other ID on other ID. Now this left join kind, I'll say left out. That means join what is join table 2 amount to other ID where there's a match. Here there's a match. So if I do okay here, once I do okay, then our table would have been extracted into this. and I will click on this icon to expand it. I want to expand the amounts. Then I use the original column name as previous. I don't need it. I'll do OK. Once I do OK now, the amount would also have been added. So the amount would have been added. Then we are good to go. So I mean, this data looks clean now. And if you do all the check, which we did for our, I mean, the check I mentioned earlier that you need to do for to be sure your data is clean. If you do it on this data set, everything looks okay. So it would meet every. So it didn't break any of those rules. So it didn't break any of those rules. So your data will be cleaned this way. So I think I don't know if it's 16. Let's just have more time or
This is 16 minutes past 8. So I think by 25 minutes past, we'll just quickly take questions. Hopefully the questions won't be much. We should round up in 5 minutes.
Okay. Okay, so I think I still have another data to clean. I mean, I'm just doing this because it depends on let me see. Okay, yes, so I think I still have one. Before I even go into this one, so let me just, so we have the clean data here, and you can use that to, I mean, do a check of what you've cleaned to be sure that you've done the right thing. So if you look at this, and then table 1, yeah. So you can do a check and yeah. So let me go to the next one, which is the data 3. So if I come here now, again, I come under data, then from file, then I do from other sources, and then I do from table arrange, and then my table has headers. Yep. So this is taking back to Power Query. Taking back to Power Query, and on Power Query, I need to clean this data again. So how do I clean it? So I need to deal with this. We have the column 1, ship mode, first class. We have the row 1, row 2. And then we have the other ID and we have the other date, which is still correct. Now we have the ship mode again. The ship mode again is on top. So I don't have, okay, it's fine. So because this column 1, column 2, let me do something quickly. Let me just, let me discard this. Let me discard this. Yes, so let me do this again. Table arrange. Yeah, I already said the table should have it, but it's fine. I'll do it the same way. So yeah, so you have column 1, the other ID, this. So I will need to first demote the headers. I will need to demote the headers again. So that, I mean, our data is coming the way it's supposed to come. So for some reason it's having this column 1 again. So I probably need to, I mean, remove the what's it called? Remove the, I mean, replace value so that it's not having this duplication again. So for this, I have 2 things I need to I mean 2 columns that are fine, 2 columns that are not fine. So remember the last one we did, we had to transpose. Well, this one, if I transpose, it will still, I mean, it will still be 2 columns that are not clean. If I do transpose now, so ship mode will be fine, segment will be fine, but other ID and other data will not be fine. So it's not like I'm going around cycles or something. So let me do this again. If I want to do this, I can, I mean, there's a logic to use. Like I said, data cleaning is 50% how you're able to think through it. It's not just what do I do? You need to understand what the challenge is and how can you go about it. So looking at this now, we have this other ID, we have this other date. So I can do a merge of this. So I merge this into one. All right. So I can deal with it later. So if I right click on it, or if you see, look up here, you see something called merge columns. So I can see merge columns, and then I can separate, I can merge by equal sign, I can merge by anything, then I do okay. So I've merged this column. Once I've merged this column, I can now transpose. So once I transpose, I can see that it's the only one column I will need to deal with now. My first class, my ship mode, my segment is fine. So once I've done this, I can now on pivots, no, before I unpivot, I need to promote headers again. Use first two as headers. Then once I do use first two as headers, I can now unpivot other columns. Okay. Now I'm pivoting other columns. You see that ship mode is fine, segment is fine, attributes is not fine yet, value is fine. So I can name this instead of ship mode or column one. I can make it ship mode segments this amount. So I can change this to currency. So now I can now deal with this. The same way I showed us split column earlier, I can do a split column by delimiter. So that delimiter will now be the equal sign, and I say choice of the delimiter. You can choose right most, you can choose left most. Any would work in this occasion, so I can choose any. So yeah, so I'm going to split by columns now. So there's no need to do this. I'll just do okay. So it's going to work just fine. So I can change this to dates. Then I'll change this from date style. I need it in dates alone. Then I can check out this other ID back. Can call this other ID back, and yep. We have our data cleaned. So I can let me see. Yeah, close and load, and we are good. We are good. So if you want to check the clean, also yeah. And this is our cleaned data. And like I said, it's automated. If there's a new data set that is to be added, it would work just fine like this. So I think I would want to stop here. Questions.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Oloruntoba. It was quite an eye-opener, and the session was insightful. The floor is open now for us to take questions. If you have if you need clarification on what has been taught so far, you can kindly signify so Mr. Oloruntoba can attend to your questions. Questions, contribution, is there anything you want to point out before we call it a night? All right. I'm not sure there is any question from anyone. No one is signifying.
Did I cover everything? That would be amazing if I covered everything. That would be amazing. Okay, it's fine if there are no questions. Thank you for having me. I say thank you so much. ID Analytics.
Oh,
okay, I think there's a question.
Olariwaju David asked question finally. So you can unmute Olariwaju.
All right, good evening. Thank you very much for that particular session. So my question goes, you said that we should make sure that there are no missing rows and columns. So my question is, what if in a scenario that we have missing cells now, like lot of missing cells, what do we do to data in that particular instance? Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. It's a wonderful question. I mean, it's so wonderful. So when it comes to blank and empty cells, okay, empty cells, well, is a peculiar case to deal with. So empty cells, you don't just, I mean, it depends on this. I mean, it's a context-based thing. So it depends on the empty cell. It's a cell that is so important that it should not be empty. They need to communicate. Oh, our client ID, that cell, there should be no client to no ID. I mean, you should not be performing any transaction without an ID, without an identifier. So if that cell, those cells are empty, they need to let your stakeholder know, or it has to be escalated. So they cannot tell you, oh, and there were some issues with our database or whatever, our system, our core system had issues. So there can be possibilities, but you need to escalate so that it is documented that, oh, I saw this particular thing and I mentioned, and then they said I should go ahead with the reporting. So if there are some columns like now, what column can be empty? Maybe our gender, at times gender can be. But I mean, it is based on context. There are some columns that should not be empty, and there are some columns that may be empty. So if it is that column that may be empty, then it's fine. You may not, I mean, you can just document and then let the stakeholder know, or let the client or whoever gave you the task to know. If this column that should not be empty and is empty, then that's something that you have to be escalated. So in those cases, those are how you deal with it. Now, if you now say, well, it's fine. If maybe the empty cells in that column or row is so much, they can tell you to take up the entire column, can tell you to take up the entire row. But I mean, it is not at your own prerogative to take it off, except they tell you to. So that's what I would say to that part. I don't know if I answered the question, Analogy.
Yes, I did. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, everyone. If you
I hope I'm
found
still being heard.
tonight's webinar insightful, I would be sharing
Can anybody hear me?
our social media.
Okay.
I'll be sharing our social
Thank you.
media handles for you to follow.
You're
We've had
welcome.
previous sessions on our webinar and some other resources. You can find them on our YouTube channel. I share in the comments already. And so you can scan the code on your screen right now. We have a WhatsApp community where we provide support to everyone who is there. If you need support, you need a hand holding, we have experts in the house to attend to your curiosity, to attend to your question. You can also check out our LinkedIn page. We have resources there, updates are there as well. And then for previous recordings on our webinars and other videos, you can also check the YouTube channel. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. It will take you to each of the social media handle. Thank you, everyone. And thanks for staying till the end of the training. We hope to see you some other time. This session comes up twice a month, and then we drop updates when we're about to have the webinar. If you have questions, you can always reach out on our Insight Hub webinar community, which is a WhatsApp community. There, you can attend to questions, we can attend to your curiosity. All right, enjoy the rest of the evening, everyone. Bye.